By the way, I'll just get out it. Jim Carrey called me up last week. I talked to him for 5.5 hours. He's like begging me to like get a deal with Q. That's it. You're gonna if you ate, you're gonna die. You can't get over that.
What do you do?
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy.
I'm sorry, using.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening.
Kanye West just confirmed what millions suspected. Jim Carrey isn't Jim Carrey anymore. After decades of exposing Hollywood's darkest secrets, the legendary comedian disappeared for years. Now he's back, but something's terribly wrong. His eyes are different. His voice has changed. Even his mannerisms don't match. And the timing? Right after the Epstein files revealed that cloning isn't just science fiction, Kanye nearly faced the same fate, institutionalized and ready to be replaced, until he exposed the person sent to make it happen. Now he's speaking out about Jim, and what he's revealing will make you question everything you thought you knew about Hollywood. The César Awards in Paris, February 2024. One of the biggest nights in cinema. Jim Carrey walks on stage to accept a Lifetime Achievement honor. The crowd goes wild. But within hours, social media explodes with one question. Who is that man? People who've watched Jim Carrey for 40 years couldn't believe what they were seeing. The hair color was wrong. The facial structure looked off. But it wasn't just appearance. His whole energy had changed. Jim Carrey built a career on wild, unpredictable energy, rubber-faced expressions, manic comedy, unbridled enthusiasm. This man on stage? Calm, controlled, almost sedated. One viewer commented, "I've never seen Jim Carrey this subdued in my entire life. Even at his own father's funeral, he had more spark than this." The interview after the ceremony made it worse. When asked about his favorite funny face, he responded,
My favorite funny face is the one I'm wearing right now.
"Not the face I'm making, the face I'm wearing. Like a mask, like something put on." And compare this to any Jim Carrey interview from the past. The man couldn't sit still. He'd interrupt himself with impressions, make faces at the camera, turn every question into physical comedy. This new Jim? He sat perfectly still, spoke in measured tones, looked directly at the camera without a single spontaneous expression, and his eyes. People noticed the eyes most of all. Different color, different depth. One facial recognition expert online ran comparisons and claimed the bone structure around the eye sockets had shifted, not from aging, not from surgery, from being a completely different person. But here's where it gets disturbing. Jim Carrey famously rejected plastic surgery his entire career. He spoke openly about aging naturally, about being more than a physical body, about connecting to a higher self beyond appearance. Why would someone with those beliefs suddenly care about looking different? Unless it wasn't his choice. Unless someone else made that decision for him. The timeline tells the real story. Jim Carrey essentially vanished from public life for nearly 4 years. No movies, no interviews, no social media. Complete silence. For a man who spent decades in the spotlight, that's not retirement. That's disappearance. And when he came back, right when the Epstein files dropped, right when everything he'd warned about started getting confirmed, right when people were finally ready to believe the things he'd said years ago about Hollywood's darkest practices. But this version of Jim Carrey isn't repeating those warnings. He's walking them back, softening them, acting like they never happened. But why would the real Jim Carrey do that? And unless he wouldn't, unless he couldn't, because he's not here anymore. To understand why they'd want to replace Jim Carrey, you need to know what he exposed. For years, Jim wasn't just an actor. He was Hollywood's loudest whistleblower. And he didn't whisper his warnings in private. He shouted them on national television. September 2014, The Jimmy Kimmel Show. Millions watching. Jim Carrey walks out, and instead of promoting a movie, he starts calling out the Illuminati. Right there, on live TV. Jimmy Kimmel throws up a hand symbol. Just a quick gesture. Most people wouldn't notice. But Jim stops the entire interview. "Oh, like you don't know what that is," he says. "Jimmy Fallon doesn't know." David Letterman doesn't know. All the comics in show business don't know what this is. Kimmel tries to laugh it off, tries to play confused. But Jim won't let it go. He leans forward, looks directly at the camera.
I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies.
Then he explains it, the symbol, the Illuminati, how talk show hosts are hired by powerful people to distract the public, to keep everyone laughing so they don't ask questions, to make people docile and entertained while real things happen in the shadows. They get out there in the woods in a circle, Jim says, his voice deadly serious now. No comedy, no jokes. Naked. And they decide these things. The audience laughs. Because what else can they do? It's too uncomfortable, too real. So they treat it like a bit. Like Jim being crazy Jim. But look at Jimmy Kimmel's face in that interview. He's not laughing. He's panicking, trying to regain control. He's trying to make it seem like comedy. That interview should have ended Jim's career right there. But he didn't stop. Fast forward to 2018. The BAFTA Britannia Awards. Another huge platform, another massive audience. Jim takes the stage to accept an award, and instead of a normal acceptance speech, he accuses everyone in that room of participating in rituals. He talks about children, about what happens to them, about what powerful people do in secret. The camera keeps cutting away. The producers clearly want him off stage, but Jim keeps going.
Kidnapping children is not what great nations do.
Bring directly into the camera. The room goes silent. No one claps. No one laughs. They just sit there, frozen. Later, the media calls him crazy. And headlines everywhere. Jim Carrey's bizarre speech. Actor has meltdown at awards show. Concerning behavior from aging star. But here's what they don't mention. 2 months after that Jimmy Kimmel appearance, Jim's girlfriend died. Suddenly? Unexpectedly. The official story was self-harm. But the timing? Immediately after he goes on national TV exposing the industry? People who speak out against powerful systems don't usually get to keep speaking. Their loved ones face consequences. They face isolation, threats. And if they keep pushing, they disappear or they get replaced. Jim knew this. He talked about it openly. In a 2017 interview, he discussed how Hollywood isn't what it seems, how there are forces controlling everything, how celebrities are just puppets playing roles. We don't matter, he said in that interview. So none of this is real. He also did something most celebrities would never do. He walked away from a massive paycheck, turned down sequel after sequel, refused to play the game anymore, because he knew what playing the game required. In one interview, a reporter asked him a hypothetical. If you were at a fancy restaurant and they offered you a tiny piece of human meat, would you try it? Without hesitation, Jim said, no, absolutely not. But the fact that the question was even asked, the fact that it was framed as something sophisticated people might consider, that tells you everything about the circles these people run in. And Jim was exposing it all, the rituals, the symbols, the practices, the control systems, everything. Then came the threats. Yet a personal trainer named Harley Pasternak sent Kanye West a message that Kanye later made public. The message said, I can have you institutionalized again, where they medicate you into zombie land forever. Notice that word. Again. Because in 2016, Kanye was forcibly taken to a medical facility, against his will, strapped down, medicated. And where did it happen? At Harley Pasternak's house. The same Harley Pasternak who trains half of Hollywood, the same person who has access to major celebrities, the same person who made it clear, speak out, and we'll make you disappear into an institution. Jim Carrey knew people like this, worked with people like this, and he exposed them anyway. But eventually, the warnings stopped. The interviews ended. Jim went silent. And now, someone who looks almost like him, sounds almost like him, but acts nothing like him is telling the world to forget everything the real Jim said. Jim Carrey isn't the first person people suspect was replaced. Not even close. The theory has been around for years. Celebrities who speak out suddenly disappear. When they come back, something's off. Different mannerisms, different beliefs, like someone hit a reset button on their entire personality. Gucci Mane. In 2016, he went to prison. When he came out, fans immediately noticed changes. His whole face looked different. His tattoos appeared to be in different positions. Even his voice had a different tone. People started calling him a clone. The theory got so big that Gucci himself had to address it. But addressing it didn't make people stop believing, because the differences were too obvious. Britney Spears. Decades of fighting for freedom from a conservatorship, speaking out about abuse, trying to expose what happened to her. Then suddenly, she's posting bizarre videos on social media, dancing the exact same way in every single one, saying everything's fine now. Fans created entire campaigns, Free Britney, because the woman they were seeing didn't seem free at all. Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million, disappeared to Africa, came back looking different, acting different, doing comedy that felt nothing like the Dave who walked away. People noticed. They always notice. Jamie Foxx disappeared for months. In 2023, medical emergency, they said. No details, no updates, just silence. When he finally appeared again, he looked different, moved different. And he immediately started thanking the same Hollywood system he'd previously questioned. The pattern is always the same. Speak out, disappear, return changed. But here's what makes the Jim Carrey situation different. We have the Epstein files now, and those files mention things that sound like science fiction. Except they're not fiction. One email talks about reversing aging through blood transfusions from young people. Another mentions medical procedures that sound like they're straight out of a cloning facility. The emails reference doctors, specific names, people with ties to major celebrities and politicians. Dr. David Agus appears in these circles, a professor at USC, the founding director of a medical institute funded by Larry Ellison, who just happened to buy TikTok. The same doctor. The Agus, who's hosted shows featuring celebrities like Ashton Kutcher and Oprah Winfrey. The same circles, the same names, over and over. And the Epstein files confirmed something else. Something people called crazy for years. Adrenochrome. It's a real chemical compound produced in the body during extreme fear, fight or flight situations. And according to these files, there are people who believe harvesting it from young people can reverse aging. Suddenly, all those crazy conspiracy theories don't sound so crazy anymore. Remember that video from 2009? Gabriela Rico, a model who showed up outside a building, absolutely terrified, speaking in Spanish, crying, saying she witnessed celebrities doing unspeakable things at a Hollywood party. She described rituals, described what she saw, begged for help. No one took her seriously, and they called her crazy, drugged out, delusional. She disappeared right after that video, never seen again. For 15 years now, she's been missing. Author Barbara Marx Hubbard gave a speech once. She was talking about humanity's future. Then she said it, clear as day. The babies we eat. She caught herself, tried to backtrack. The food we eat, I mean, but it was too late. The slip was recorded, shared, analyzed. Actress Roseanne Barr didn't slip up. She said it directly. They eat babies. That is not fiction. It's true. She called them vampires, said they love the taste of human blood. People tried to dismiss her as unhinged, crazy, but she didn't back down, and neither did Jim Carrey, until he disappeared, until this new version showed up. Kanye West almost became another name on this list. In 2016, he started speaking out about the industry, about how it's controlled, about who pulls the strings. Within days, he was hospitalized, taken from Harley Pasternak's house, institutionalized against his will. But Kanye did something smart. He exposed it while it was happening, posted the threatening messages, named names, made it public. Because once it's public, replacing him becomes harder. People would notice. People would ask questions. That's exactly what he's doing now with Jim Carrey. Making it public, asking the questions, pointing out the obvious. Because the entertainment industry has a history of making problems disappear. Celebrities who threaten the system, they get discredited, called mentally ill, institutionalized, medicated into silence, or replaced entirely. Think about how easy it would be. Someone disappears for 4 years. No public appearances, no social media, complete silence. During that time, anything could happen. Medical procedures, replacements, training someone to act like them, talk like them, move like them. Then they roll out the new version. A version that looks close enough, sounds close enough, but doesn't ask dangerous questions anymore, doesn't expose uncomfortable truths, just shows up, collects awards, and plays the role. The technology exists, the motive exists, the pattern exists, and now the proof is standing on stages in Paris, wearing Jim Carrey's face, saying everything the real Jim would never say. So why Jim Carrey specifically? Out of thousands of celebrities, why him? Because Jim wasn't just speaking out. He was effective. People listened to him. When he went on Jimmy Kimmel and exposed the Illuminati, that clip went viral. Millions of views. Millions of people suddenly asking questions they'd never asked before. When he gave that BAFTA speech, he didn't just hint at things. He named them directly. Children, rituals, the things powerful people do in secret. He crossed lines that other celebrities won't even approach. And here's the crucial part. Jim had credibility. He wasn't some fringe figure people could easily dismiss. This was Jim Carrey, The Mask, Ace Ventura, The Truman Show, a beloved icon with 40 years of trust built with the public. When someone like that speaks, people listen. And that made him dangerous. The industry can handle random conspiracy theorists online. They can handle small-time whistleblowers nobody's heard of. But a mainstream, a beloved celebrity with a massive platform exposing their secrets, that's a threat they can't ignore. Especially now. Especially after Epstein. Because everything Jim said years ago is being proven true. The private islands, the powerful people, the things done to children. It's all coming out. The files are public. The evidence is mounting. If the real Jim Carrey was still here, still speaking, he'd be saying, "I told you so," on every platform available. He'd be vindicated. His warnings would carry more weight than ever. Instead, we get this quiet, subdued version telling everyone to move on. Kanye West recognizes the playbook because he nearly fell victim to it himself. The threats, the institutionalization, the attempts to silence him through medication and control. He saw it coming and fought back by making everything public. And that's why he's speaking out about Jim now, because he knows what they do, he knows how they operate, and he knows that silence is how they win. Look at the timeline one more time. Jim exposes the industry throughout 2014 to 2018. His girlfriend dies in 2015. He makes increasingly bold statements. Then, complete silence starting in 2020. 4 years of nothing. The Epstein files drop in late 2023 and early 2024, confirming everything he said. And suddenly, in February 2024, Jim Carrey reappears. Different eyes, different voice, different energy, saying different things. The people who've studied his career for decades can't reconcile what they're seeing. Facial recognition software shows discrepancies. Voice analysis shows changes beyond normal aging. Body language experts note a completely different baseline behavior. But the mainstream media? They're not asking questions. They're celebrating his return, praising his award, acting like nothing's strange at all. Because asking questions would mean admitting something's wrong. And if something's wrong with Jim Carrey, then what else might be wrong? Who else might not be who they claim to be? The implications are too big, so they stay silent. But the people watching aren't silent. The comments on every video of his César Awards appearance are filled with questions, concerns, people pointing out the differences, demanding answers. And those comments keep getting deleted, shadow banned, removed for misinformation, which only makes people more convinced something's wrong. Here's what we know for certain. The real Jim Carrey spent years warning us about Hollywood's darkest secrets. He had nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking out. He did it anyway. Then he disappeared. Now, someone who looks similar but acts completely different has taken his place, right when his warnings were being proven true. Coincidence? Or the exact thing Jim warned us would happen to people who expose the truth? Kanye West is betting on the latter, and based on his own experiences, he'd know. The question isn't whether something happened to Jim Carrey. The question is, what are they planning to do with whoever replaced him? Because this new version isn't just staying quiet. He's actively working to undo everything the real Jim accomplished. Softening the message, calming the concerns, telling people to trust the same system Jim spent years exposing. That's not retirement. That's not aging. That's not a man who found peace. That's a replacement, doing exactly what replacements are designed to do. And if they did it to Jim Carrey, one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, who else have they already replaced that we just haven't noticed yet?